Hey, Ralph. Hey, thanks again, man, for getting me this job. You were right. These hours really do suck. What you calling for?
I wanted to record a message for you. First, there's an introductory greeting from the company. It's kind of a legal thing, you know.
Yeah, man. Go for it. I'm just going to work while you talk.
Hello and welcome to your new summer job at the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Ralph, you do realize it's the middle of November, right?
Yeah.
Night guard!
Oh wait, Foxy.
Wait, what do you mean, oh wait, Foxy? Welcome back to another Five Nights at Freddy's Theory, and do you guys remember that little summer job line we heard back in FNAF 2? You know, the one that made no sense because we get a check later in the week that's dated for November? Well, I think I might have finally figured out why that's said. Now, I know at this point somebody is probably already down in the comment section trying to say that the reason why this line is even put in there is because Scott is from Texas. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, basically people from Texas and the surrounding region tend to use the term summer job interchangeably with any temporary job, whether or not it is in the summer. Bagging groceries in the spring? Summer job. Shoveling snow in the winter? Summer job. Being a night guard at a knockoff Chuck E. Cheese location in the middle of November? Summer job. Now, I don't think this is what Scott intended whenever he said summer job, because if you look back to the first two games, you could actually see that he was painting somewhat of a picture of why that line was said in the first place. Going back to FNAF 1, we can learn something very important. Phone Guy is reading from a script. Of course, not the whole time. In fact, he only reads like 3 lines from it before giving up, but he is in fact given a script to read. What I am proposing is that similarly to FNAF 1, Phone Guy is given a script in 1987. The only difference is this script isn't quite up to date. It sounds like it's about 3 months old from whenever we actually hear it, meaning it's gonna have a few kinks. In fact, I think we might even be able to hear Ralph realizing that this script is old while he's reading it. Listening to the first night in FNAF 2, we hear Ralph introduce this as a summer job, only to follow that statement up with an
Hello and welcome to your new summer job at the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
He then goes on to say how the new location is already getting a ton of rumors surrounding it, and the old location isn't helping much because it's muddying the image of what Fazbear Entertainment wants. But again, every few words he adds an
Now, I want you to forget anything you may have heard about the old location, you know. Some people still have a somewhat negative impression of the company. That old restaurant was kind of left to rot for quite a while, but I want to reassure you, Fazbear Entertainment is committed to family fun and above all, safety.
Now, if you've been in the FNAF community a while, you probably know that Phone Guy stumbles while he's speaking. A lot. But what's interesting is that he doesn't seem to stumble nearly as much if he's actually reading something. Take a listen to the FNAF 1 call when we know he's reading straight from the script.
Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, a magical place for kids and grown-ups alike, where fantasy and fun come to life. Fazbear Entertainment is not responsible for damage to property or person. Upon discovering that damage or death has occurred, a missing person report will be filed within 90 days or as soon as property and premises have been thoroughly cleaned and bleached and the carpets have been replaced. Blah, blah, blah.
And now let's hear one of the FNAF 3 phone calls.
To change the animatronics to suit mode, insert and turn firmly the hand crank provided by the manufacturer. Turning the crank will recoil and compress the animatronic parts around the sides of the suit, providing room to climb inside. Please make sure the spring locks are fastened tight to ensure the animatronic devices remain fixed. We will cover this in more detail in tomorrow's session. Remember to smile, you are the face of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Again, we can assume that in the FNAF 3 tapes, he's reading straight from a script because he's not stumbling nearly as much as he normally would, and he ends each tape with, "You are the face of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza." But now, I want to go back to the FNAF 2 phone call from where we left off, and I want you to listen for the ums and the uhs.
They've spent a small fortune on these new animatronics. Facial recognition, advanced mobility. They even let them walk around during the day. Isn't that neat? But most importantly, They're all tied into some kind of criminal database so they can detect a predator a mile away. Heck, we should be paying them to guard you.
Did you hear it? One singular throughout that entire thing, talking about the advanced functionalities of the new animatronics. And it's not like Ralph has memorized what he's supposed to be saying here. We are told that we are the second night guard to be working at this location. Now, unless Ralph is reading this in his free time in order to try and memorize it, he is not going to know what this thing says. He is most definitely reading from a script for at least portions of the first night. Now, obviously, I can't just leave the video here. Figuring out that there was a script in the first place is just the first step. The important part about this theory is that assuming Scott did in fact intend for Ralph to be reading a script here, what does the summer line mean and why is it lore relevant? And this is where things start to get interesting, because in order to answer that, we need to once again go back to Fnaf 1. As I already mentioned, we know that Ralph was given a script in Fnaf 1 in order to read, but he tosses it to the side after reading the bare minimum. Lucky for us, that bare minimum does include something very important for this theory. Ralph reads from the script that if Fazbear Entertainment discovers damage or death on their property, they will wait up to 90 days before reporting it. We get our Fnaf 2 paycheck in the middle of November. 90 days prior to that is the middle of August, the middle of the summer. You see where I'm going with this? There must have been something that happened in the summer of 1987 that caused Fazbear Entertainment to change buildings, and we need to get to the bottom of it. The good news about Fnaf 2 is that we're definitely not short of incidences that could have taken place in the summer. In this game alone, we get minigames of the MCI, the DCI, Charlie's death, and in Fnaf 1, we hear of something called the Bite of 87. So we need to go through each event in order to figure out which one Scott was trying to tell us took place 3 months earlier. First one up, and the easiest one to eliminate, is the missing children's incident. Back when Fnaf 2 originally released, we didn't have any idea when the MCI could have occurred, but at this point in time, we have multiple different sources implying or just straight up saying that the MCI occurred in 1985, so the timeline just doesn't work out for this to be our summer incident. We could go over the possible what if on if this is when Scott originally wanted the MCI to take place, but we've got other candidates that I really want to talk about because they are much more interesting than this one. So we're just going to say the MCI happened in 1985 and leave it there. The next easy one to eliminate is the MCI's little sibling, the dead children's incident. Now, some of the community believes that this incident didn't even occur since they have no significance past Fnaf 2. And while this definitely deserves more explanation on Scott's part, that's not why this is getting removed here. Assuming what we see in Save Them is a different set of dead kids that's separate from the MCI, we also see the toy animatronics. These guys don't exist in any other building besides the one we see them in Fnaf 2. So with the toy animatronics being shown in this minigame, that means that the DCI had to have occurred during the 2 weeks that the Fnaf 2 location was open. Once again, another incident that doesn't fit the timeline of events. But that's okay, because these next 2 incidents are the ones that are really interesting. Charlie's death is a hot topic in the community right now. With the second movie coming out pretty shortly after the release of this video, and the pretty recent introduction of Charlie 87 thanks to Fazbear Entertainment being 2 pretty recent examples, Charlie is talked about a lot right now. Now, we're not here to prove or disprove Charlie 87. Here on the Terminal Error channel, we believe in Charlie 87, and if you somehow haven't seen the video, you should go check it out on Fazbear Entertainment's channel, which I'll have linked up here. But what we are here to do is see if it needs adjusted slightly. Rather than Charlie dying in the fall of 1987, maybe she dies in the summer. So why exactly do I think that Charlie's death needs moved once again on the timeline? Well, let's take a quick look at Save Him in order to see that Freddy is the one giving out cake here. That's right, it's Freddy, not Fred Bear like Game Theory originally thought, and it's also not Toy Freddy, the animatronic that's supposed to be active in the Fnaf 2 build. This one detail could mean that Charlie's death doesn't take place in the Fnaf 2 building, but instead takes place in the building 3 months prior to FNAF 2, the one where Withered Freddy would be walking around. That also means that all those rumors that we hear about on day 1 of working at this new location could have been caused from Charlie's death 3 months earlier. There's just one tiny problem with this. Charlie's body isn't hidden like the MCI is. She would be found very quickly after her death. If anyone who doesn't work at Fazbear Entertainment, or even someone who does work there but has a conscience, finds Charlie's body before somebody at Fazbear Entertainment has the opportunity to cover it all up, then that means that these wouldn't be rumors that Ralph would be hearing. They would just be facts. At least that's what I would be saying if it wasn't for the most recent FNAF movie trailer. Spoiler warning here, we're not going to be talking about any leaks or anything like that. We're just going to be talking about the trailer, but if you want to go into the movie completely blind, skip to the timestamp that's on the screen right now. Now in the trailer, the person that most of the community believes to be Henry Emily, Charlie's father, says that everyone thought that her death was an accident until those kids died a few years later. If this is how the public saw Charlie's death in the games universe as well, then rumors would spread like wildfire. Charlie's death doesn't match the rest of the MCI kids' death in games, meaning that people could start believing pretty much anything about her death. They might believe it's a copycat killer, a freak accident, or any other number of things that would just help the rumors grow even stronger. So while I originally thought Charlie's death wasn't going to be possible this summer, I think it's got a good chance now. That just leaves the bite of 87, where thanks to the week before, we know that the culprit was Foxy. Ralph doesn't put the toy adjective before this or say mangle in any way. He just says Foxy, which brings into question how. I mean, the toys are the animatronics that we use the week that we play, meaning that Foxy should be deactivated in the back during the day shift, right? Well, he should be shut off during the nighttime too, according to Ralph, so I guess that really doesn't matter, but he is getting used at least 3 months prior before the toys even existed. That is, until Mangle replaces him. Ever wonder why Ralph specifies that Foxy gets replaced by Mangle whenever all the Withereds get replaced by the toys? Of course you have, and lucky for you, I have the answer. It's because Foxy was replaced first. They weren't all replaced at the same time. No. Foxy was replaced first because of the bite. This might take a bit of explaining. Where on earth would I have gotten the idea that Foxy was the first to get the toy treatment? It's from the kids' drawings that we see in FNAF 2. We see all of the Withereds except for one. Not Golden Freddy, no, he's accounted for. Foxy is the only missing one. Instead of Foxy, we get 2 pictures of Mangle, the only toy animatronic to get drawings. This subtle storytelling seems to be hinting to the idea that Mangle was the first toy made to replace Foxy, and then afterwards, 3 more toys were made to replace the other Withereds. We can even see this in Mangle's design. Notice how she's the only toy animatronic to be, well, mangled. It's not because the kids are more rough with him than the other toy animatronics. It's because Mangle was Fazbear Entertainment's first attempt at making the new toy animatronics, the test dummy before they spent more money on making more animatronics. That's why whatever's in Mangle that makes him so easy to take apart isn't present in the other 3 toys. It also backs up why the staff are already tired of fixing her. Mangle's not just 2 weeks old, he's months old. But then what about the line that Ralph says about the animatronics having new advanced technology? Earlier in the video, I mentioned how this line is in a script made 3 months before we even start working at the FNAF 2 location. So how could this line exist if it's made for the toy animatronics? Well, it wasn't specifically made for the toys. This line was talking about the animatronics that are getting this new tech. And wouldn't you know it, the Withereds were supposed to get this before the toys were made. Ralph mentions this in Night 2 whenever he points out the Withered Animatronics and tells us how they were originally getting retrofit with this new technology before Fazbear Entertainment changed their decision and decided to make new toy animatronics.
The idea at first was to repair them. They even started retrofitting them with some of the newer technology. but they were just so ugly, you know, and the smell. So the company decided to just go in a whole new direction and make them super kid-friendly.
They may have been ugly, but Fazbear was still willing to try and use them. That is, until the bite. But Terminal, aren't you forgetting that the bite is the reason why the animatronics don't walk around during the day anymore? No, my astute viewer, I am not forgetting about that. Let's listen to the part where Ralph mentions the animatronics walking around during the day in Fnaf 2.
They've spent a small fortune on these new animatronics. Facial recognition, advanced mobility. They even let them walk around during the day. Isn't that neat?
Did you notice that? He's reading this part from a script, but as he's reading, he gets less and less excited and ends the statement by clearing his throat. That must have been something that Scott forgot to remove. There's no way that him clearing his throat means something here, right?
It doesn't seem to affect all of the animatronics, but it does affect one of them.
Oh my god, him clearing his throat is supposed to be a nervous tick. Ralph talking about the puppet, something that he has gone on record to say he does not like, and clearing his throat at the end makes sense. He's getting uncomfortable talking about something he doesn't like. But him talking about the animatronics moving around during the day and clearing his throat in a nervous way means that there is something wrong with what he is saying. Something here is making him uncomfortable. If Ralph is reading from an old script, that could mean that the bite has already happened and the animatronics aren't allowed to move around during the day anymore. Even if they are the new and improved animatronics, Fazbear is still trying to cover their ass by making sure none of them are allowed to move off stage. It's a bit of a stretch, but with the bite being the incident that occurs in the summer, that means that the rumors that could be sprouting around this new building are all about the bite, whether or not the person lived or died, and what caused the bite in the first place. It explains why Foxy would be the first one to get replaced by the new toy animatronics, why Ralph would be speaking so weird on the phone about this stuff, and as long as the DCI or Charlie's death still occur in the building that we work in, then the restaurant still closes at the end of the week. The biggest problem that I see with this theory is, what is the point of giving us 2 night guards in Fnaf 2? With the bite of 87 happening at the end of the week, we theorize that Jeremy, the night guard that we play as in nights 1 through 6, gets swapped to the day shift and then becomes our bite of 87 victim. But if the bite happens before Fnaf 2 even starts, then who are you people? Honestly, I don't know, but I'm gonna leave this video here. I still think that that summer line still holds some sort of significance, whether or not any of the answers that I've given today are the actual answer. So I want to hear what you guys think. Are any of these the explanation as to why the old summer line is in Fnaf 2, or is there another explanation that I didn't think of? Let me know in the comments below, and while you're down there, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to see more in the future. Thanks again for watching to the very end, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!